Okay, let's begin by coming to sit. I'm going to sit on a cushion, but you, of course, could sit on a chair if that's more comfortable. Taking the legs into any comfortable position, cross-legged, straight legs, long frogs, whatever's going to work for you, as long as you're able to sit up nice and tall in the spine. Find a comfortable position, settle in, and then place one hand on your tummy and one hand on your ribs. We're going to begin just by taking your breath into your hands. So allowing the breath to move into the ribs and into the abdominals. And noticing if you have a tendency just to breathe in the top part of your lungs. Really take your attention, take the breath down to those hands. Feel the rib cage moving with your breath. Gentle breaths in, gentle breaths out. That's all we're doing here. And then we're going to come to sit comfortably. And we're going to reach the arms up and overhead. We're going to interlace the fingers and take them behind the head. Shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. Slide them away from the ears. And then lift your breastbone up towards the sky. Think of a line from your breastbone straight up to the ceiling. Return your body upright and release the arms down. So again, repeating arms up, interlace the fingers behind the head. Shoulders up to the ears, shoulders away from the ears. Breastbone lifts up. Back up to nice and tall, release the arms. Keep going with this. The arms are slightly forwards of the side of the body, so they're not in line with the side of the body. Just let the breath follow naturally into the body. And we're just repeating this one more time. Take a side bend over towards your left now, reaching the top arm up and over. You don't have to bend the underneath elbow, whatever works for your body today. Lifting back up and then taking the stretch on the other side. And I'm just releasing my head a little to free up my neck. If that feels good to you too, you can do the same. And repeating up and over to the left. And to the right. I'm going to come off the cushion, off our bottoms now. And we're going to lay onto our backs. So take the cushion now underneath your pelvis so that it is tilted in towards you. We're going to use gravity to help our pelvic floor exercises here. So the gravity will pull your pelvic floor up and in as we squeeze. So it's a nice simple movement here. Arms where they're comfortable. You're going to exhale and you're going to squeeze your pelvic floor in and then see if you can lift it up and inside of you. And as you inhale, you release completely. So it's an exhale and pulling up and in, and an inhale to release. And as you inhale, release, think of those sitting bones expanding away from one another. So it'll look like we're not doing anything, but of course we're working from the inside out. You're trying not to squeeze the glutes, but the lower abdominals will be working a little bit. So just continuing on with your natural breath, allowing the breath to help you move your pelvic floor on the exhale and to release on the inhale. And then we're going to reposition the cushion a little bit higher up so it's supporting the pelvis now completely. And we're just going to settle into the body. So I'm just going to lift one leg up above the hip and place it down. And I'm lift the other leg and just feel where the hips are in space. Okay, and then I'm going to take my hands onto my hips so that I can feel if there's any wobble. I'm going to keep the hips still and allow the left knee to open to the left side, and then bring it back up towards the sky. So I'm allowing the hip to release, the knee to roll open, and then I'm going to draw in from the center of my body and bring the knee along with it. So I'm keeping the body nice and still and allowing the leg to open. So I'm not interested in how wide open you can get your knee. I'm interested in you keeping the center of your body still and engaged. You might find it helpful to inhale, allow the knee to open, and exhale to draw the knee closed. And then place the hands down alongside your body. Draw one leg up at a time and place it down. So we're just testing again, can I move my legs without moving my body? So part of this work is just becoming aware of where our body is in space again, after all the big changes that happen through pregnancy. So placing the feet down now, we're going to take the arms up above our chest and turn the palms to face our knees. We're going to draw the right leg up, and as we do that, take the left leg up and overhead, returning to the start position. So left leg lifts, right arm reaches up and overhead. So nice controlled movement from the center, the body stays still, the arm and leg move. And if you're finding there's just too much wobble here, you return the arms back down to the floor and you just continue on with the legs. And just build up slowly the coordination, the strength. There's no rush. Exhaling as the leg comes up and the arm reaches overhead, and inhaling as you return. Bringing the arms back down. We're going to move the cushion now to in between the knees. So don't have too thin a cushion. Make sure that your knees are hip distance apart. So I'm squishing mine halfway. And place the arms wherever is comfortable. What we're going to do is we're going to squeeze the knees together and pick up our pelvic floor. And then inhale, release. Yeah, so squeeze the knees, squeeze the cushion. Pick up your pelvic floor up and in, and release. Yeah, and you'll feel maybe the lower abdominals working, but try to not squeeze with your glutes. So exhaling this time, maybe picking up your tailbone and releasing it, and inhale to release back down. And you might lift the tailbone a little bit higher each time. So you may tilt the pelvis a little bit more in towards you, and then you inhale, release. So you're drawing your hips towards your ribs as you roll the pelvis in and releasing the hips away from the ribs as you inhale. So don't forget to squeeze the cushion, pick up your pelvic floor, and don't worry about coming up very high at this point. Let's just work on the pelvis. Arms can come to the floor if that's helpful. Follow your own breath. And last one. And then remove the cushion and we'll come onto our hands and our knees. Best way to do that is to roll onto your side, take your time. Bringing your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees directly underneath your hips. So we're making as square a position as we can. Spread your fingers and press the floor away. We're going to find a neutral pelvis by doing a few pelvic tilts, so the tailbone lifts the sky and then tucks down towards the floor. And I've placed my hand on the back so I can feel, and I'm going to find a point where I can place a cup of tea on the back of the pelvis and it won't fall off. I'm picking up my tummy. On the exhale, keeping the rest of the body still, and on the inhale, I'm just allowing the belly to fill naturally with air. So exhale, picking up my tummy, and inhale, releasing. The rest of the body stays still. So now we're going to move an arm and leg. So before you do it, think about what you're going to do. Pick up your tummy and then reach opposite arm and leg away from you along the floor. If it feels stable, lifting them up, lowering them back down and then sliding them back underneath you. So think about moving the arm and leg before you do. Slide them away, maybe lift them up, lower them and slide them back in. So the aim of this is to keep the body nice and still, to move arm and leg only as far or as quick as you can keep the body still. So we're not working on speed here, we're working on control. Arm and leg will reach away, lift, and then lower back down. Just a couple more. Final ones now, really keeping the body nice and still. Coming off your wrists now, sit in a comfortable position, interlace the fingers and roll your wrists out. Go in one direction, go in the other direction, doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to place the back of my hands on the floor to stretch the forearms, and you decide how much pressure you want to put through them. The more, the greater the intensity of the stretch. Coming off now, and coming to lie all the way onto our tummies. And place your hands in line with your ears, but off your mat. Your legs kind of wider than hip distance apart, but reach them really far away from your hips, so really lengthen the legs. We're going to draw the nose forwards and up, and we're going to lift the hands and elbows, hovering them off, place them back down and come all the way back down. So drawing that nose forwards and up, hovering the arms off and coming back down. And making sure that your lower back isn't kind of overarching by reaching your tailbone towards your heels. So it's not about height here, it's really about just opening up the front of the body a little bit. So if you're getting any kind of pain in your lower back, then I just want you to go lower, don't come up as high. Think about becoming long rather than bendy. And if it feels okay, you can keep your arms down and push a little bit into them, but today I'd rather you keep the arms hovering off just to use the back muscles a little bit more. And then come to sit onto our heels, or any comfortable position if this isn't comfortable for you, into child's pose. So just allowing the body to bend in the opposite direction to what we've been doing. And you can take the breath into the back body, into the lower part of your back. Just breathing some space into any tightness there. Taking a few moments just to be still. Coming back onto your tummy nice and slowly. And this time we're going to reach the arms down alongside our hips, palms face down. Bring the legs together. And keeping the hands down, you're just going to lift the body in the same way as you just did. So hovering off and back down. The upper body is working, but the legs aren't just passive, they're really reaching away. As always, height is is less important than length. If you feel this going into your lower back, really try to tuck your tailbone down towards your heels. So you're sort of limiting the amount of movement in your lower back. If it feels okay, you can hover the arms off, hands in line with your hips, they're not coming up higher. Imagine you can make as an aerodynamic shape as possible. And if this feels okay, you can lift the legs, or hover the legs rather. Think of hovering them from the thighs, not bending at the knees. And then let's sit back onto our heels into child's pose and take a rest. Spending another few quiet moments here. Just breathing and being still. We're just going to keep the same pose, but we're just going to stretch the arms out slightly to the left, so we get a little bit of a side stretch in the right side of the body. And then taking the arms over to the right for the same thing on the second side. Coming back to center when you feel like you've had enough of a stretch. And just staying here for as long as feels comfortable for you. There's no rush, there's no more work or exercise to be done. So if this feels comfortable for you, just stay a few brief moments longer and enjoy some quiet time.